For this lesson, we are going to be reading histograms. Remember, a histogram has intervals for its x-axis, and its y-axis is marked in what we're actually talking about. So each one of these, you can see, has intervals. If you look at the individual graph like this one, they are always going to be the same dimension. And we were totally trying to do that when I actually made a histogram in a different video. So let's look at what they are questions they're going to be asking us. So this represents the plant height experiment. So we have an experiment. We have a number of plants. Notice the intervals go up by ones. We have the intervals for the number of inches of growth, counting by twos. So the first question wants to know the overall shape of this graph. Well, they're talking about the shape of the distribution, and we do know that that is symmetric. The second question says, how many plants were 5 to 6 inches tall at the end of the experiment? So all we have to do is we're going to go to where 5 to 6 inches is, and we're going to look over at our number of plants, and we can see that there are 2 plants. All right, let's look at our second histogram and see what they're going to go ahead and be talking about. It's video games owned by students. We're talking about the number of students here, and it's intervals of 2 going up. And now we're also talking about the number of games. And yes, you can see that it's a 0 to 2, a 3 to 5, 6 to 8, all the way through 14. So it says the graph peaks at what interval? So it's important that they're looking for the interval. So I'm going to go to my tallest graph here. And I know that's 12 students, but that's not what they asked me. They asked me what interval. So it is the 6 to 8 interval. All right, for the second question, it says, how many students are represented in the histogram? Well, that's not too bad, because all we have to do is, I like to write my numbers above it. This first bar stands for 4 students. This next one stands for 6. We said there were 12 students here. Going straight across, I see this is an 8. And then the last one is a 4. So if we want to know how many students there are, all we're going to do is we're going to add 4 plus 6 plus 12 plus 8 plus 4. And doing the math, here's a 10 plus, and here is a 20 and the 4. So together, altogether, it is 34 students. All right, the third histogram is talking about candy bars sold by students. So notice, number of students in intervals of 2. And now we have our number of our candy bars, and apparently they sold a lot. So notice my intervals are larger here. We want to know the overall shape of the graph, and that's when we draw our line here. And I can see that I have my tail there. Where is it going? The stretch out long. And so this definitely is skewed. And since the tail is on the left, it is skewed left. Now, for number 2, it says, what percent of total students who participated in the sale sold 21 to 25 candy bars? So let's mark the text. We want to know the percent, our final answer. And it's the total students we're comparing to who sold 21 to 25 candy bars. So I'm going to my interval here, and I can see for 21 to 25, it is a 12. And I have to get it over my total number of students. And when I do that, I'm going to add my 4 plus my 6 plus my, I'm looking at it, my 6 plus my 8 and plus my 12. And again, we are going to add all those numbers up together. And when we add those numbers up together, we do get 36. Well, this isn't in simplest form. So I know if I divide both of these by 12, I actually get 1/3. But they didn't want the fraction. They wanted the percent. And I know that 1/3 is the same as 33, and it could be 1/3%, or if we can round it to the nearest whole percent, it would be approximately 33%. And this is what they were looking at. So let's say you don't remember how to go ahead and what some of these are. You can always go ahead and do a little division problem that would look like this. And you multiply it out, and when you do, you end up with 0.3, and that is a 0.3. I'm going to write it down here, 0.3, and it is repeating. So there is my answer for number 3, 33%. The last histogram are points scored from a basketball team in November. So here are our number of players. Here are our number of points. So it says how many players scored points in November. So I see there, this goes up to 2. This one is a 1. This one is a 4. And this one is a 3. So when I add those numbers together, I end up getting 10 players total. So what percent of the total players scored 31 to 40 points in November? So again, marking the text. Our answer has to be a percent. We are going to be comparing the total players to the points that are scored between 31 and 40. So I'm going to put my, looking at there were 4 players over 10. Now to change this to a percent, remember, I can go ahead and I can multiply, that would be a 10, 4 times 10 and 10 times 10, because whatever you do to the numerator, you do the denominator. So we end up with 40 over 100, and we know that that is equal to 40%. If this video was helpful to you today, please add a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more Math with Marcia. See you again soon.